Hello, everybody. Welcome to the full moon. Welcome to the gateway of Pluto in Aquarius. Why? Well, because the full moon opposes the sun and Pluto in Aquarius. So we're going to feel it. We're going to feel what that shift is about during this full moon. Maybe you already are. So before I get going into the analysis of the chart, I just want to really take time to say how huge this is. It's not every day Pluto changes sign. We're talking about a 16-year period we just got out of with Capricorn. So think about what changed when it comes to the Capricorn themes in 16 years. And then, we break it down into our own lives. But in general, Capricorn rules patriarchy, government, authority, conservatism, capitalism. Look at how much has changed. We don't have this um, sense of empires, right? They're people don't want that. They're not respecting them. They're crumbling. They're not as strong. Um, Challenges to authority and government all the time. Like it's a mess, right? It's a mess everywhere we go. Where is there any leadership that we trust? So at the beginning of 2008, when Capricorn shifted, Pluto shifted into Capricorn, we probably did have more faith and hope in our governments or our systems or our authority figures, including our medical system, everything. And now it's all been challenged and it needs an upheaval. So every sign will have gone through a death, a rebirth, an upheaval phase during Pluto and Capricorn, depending on what sign you are, what area of your life it brought that to. So, but like a 16-year period of change, it's not nothing. So we have to really, in my opinion, if you want to be smart about your steps in the future, wouldn't it be great to know what Aquarius is going to challenge and change? Wouldn't it be great to know where in your chart that happens? So I can give you personal readings for that. I'm in the middle of doing long projections for each sign based on the outer planets over the next long haul. So once I get all those signs done, you can check yours, but I've got Aries, Taurus, Gemini, and Cancer up there for now. And that'll break it down a little more as to what this is about. But Aquarius is the sign of brotherly love, right? Yes and no. It's not about the individual, it's about the collective. It's about where you fit into the society or social systems, your tribes, strata, maybe not classism quite, but that certainly might come into the fold because Capricorn is more the sign of like, status and climbing to the top and the top down and the king and then the servants, you know, the master and the slaves kind of thing. That's dissolving. Aquarius is like, we're over here doing our thing. Our tribe is about, we like gemstones. We're over here. Us, oh well, we're fundamental religious people. We're over there. See ya. And everybody is sort of like it's brotherly love in the sense of like, you do you, man. You do you, and do no harm to others, but you do you. But of course, what we know, human nature, what's going to happen with that is at first people might find they'll go off and find their tribe and they'll align themselves and they'll feel very great, like you found your people. Wonderful, right? That's what we all want, looking for connection and looking for who is our people. And but we know what happens with that too is there's always going to be clashes of needs and values with that. So there can still be a lot of upheaval in an Aquarian Pluto. The other thing that it's going to bring is very fast an intense transformation on the technology. It rules technology, and it rules astrology as well. So you never know what realms we're going to suddenly be open to. Maybe people are not going to think that gem healing and sound healing is crazy in a few years. Maybe it'll be mainstreamed. You know, natural stuff, alternative stuff, and also like high-tech advancement and fast. So that's the big picture. You know, if you take a look at where it's playing out in your particular world, in your with your sign, which the long view reports I'm putting up go into that, then you can see, well, what area of my life is going to be challenged and enhanced, and you know, where's the learning, where's my focus. It's 20 years of a cycle. It's pretty big. So I've got a few things going on before we get into the chart, just to let you know. First of all, if you like my channel, please click and share and follow and subscribe and all that. And I have something called the Intuition Cafe, which I mentioned. It's free on Facebook. It's a way to meet other like-minded people who are also intuitive or empathic, and, you know, get feelings, messages, and you got to have a place to be, to share. This is part of the find your tribe, you know, maybe your tribe is over here with our Intuition Cafe. And I've started to have events. So we had our first event and it was really fun. So we're going to choose a different location every time and practice our intuition and just meet each other. Yeah. So that was really fun. And I have some photos to put up from that. But you can join that group for free on Facebook anytime. And then I'm giving a talk with the Edgar Cayce Center about Pluto and Aquarius and all the details of what that could really bring. And I'm giving that at their Psychic Healing Fair, January 28th around noon, and anybody can join. So I'll put the link below as well for you to find where you can sign up for that. All right, so without further ado, let's take a look at this full moon chart. All right. And it's not showing me. I have disappeared on the screen. There we go. But you know what? It's not going to show on the video anyway, is it? Okay, whatever. All right, so here we go. Now, just a quick look. You can see the alignment of the planets and the aspects. Just get an overall feeling when you first look at a chart with me. What energy does it give you when you look at the aspects and the way things are laid out? You know, does it feel open? Does it feel tight? Does it feel exciting? Does it feel heavy? For me, the chart seems to be making almost like fingers pinching down below. You could almost see this like a hand and the fingers and the thumb pinching together. And as you can see, there's a lot of red lines, so there's a lot of oppositions and squares. And there's also a good share of blue lines, so trines and sextiles where things are easier. So the first thing to talk about with is what is a Leo moon like? So Leo moon is a strong-spirited person. They will not be dominated by anybody. They're very independent, and they're sensitive and they can be a bit dramatic, but they're also very courageous. And they definitely are here to shine, but they have a hard time sometimes asking for attention or, you know, finding a way to shine, because the moon is in Leo. It's not the sun in Leo that just walks into the room and it's like, hey, I'm here, give me attention. It's the moon. It's more about like, you need to shine. You need the attention. You need to express yourself and be bold and come out and show who you are deep down. But if you're a different sign than Leo, that's more conservative or calm or watery, it's hard to show the fiery side of you. And so you might be feeling that this full moon, that you need to bring out that side, that your boldness, your courage, your self-expression, your leadership, your allowing the spotlight to be on you. Allow yourself to get what you need, the attention that you need. Not with, without being a diva about it, but allow that for yourself. The thing is, though, all these planets up here above the horizon are very, that's great. They're above the horizon. We're more conscious of it, aware of the energies, but they're looming over the moon, aren't they? They're just sort of hanging over it. It's all alone down there. The only thing supporting the moon in this chart is this blue line here, which is Neptune, a trine to Neptune in Pisces, which is very, very weak in terms of support. Neptune in Pisces is going to be very dreamy, very esoteric, very, transcendental meditation, intuitive, but not very concrete. It's not an energy that's going to stand up behind the Leo moon and say, hey, I got your back. They're going to just be wishy-washy. They might say, yeah, I totally get what you're saying. It's really inspiring what you're doing, but they're not going to step up. They're just going to be there like a background support or the sideline support. So if you find yourself in a position where you really need to, like, if there's any kind of tension or conflict, or you're trying to bring out something and show who you are, it's going to be harder because there's not a lot of support for it unless you put it in a Neptunian type of direction, which would be show who you are in terms of your philosophical nature, show your poetry, sing your songs, show us your art, So if you express yourself in whatever it is you need to do through your creativity or your art, you might find a bit of support with that Neptune. But otherwise, you're going to be met with all these red lines, which are oppositional. You're going to get Jupiter in Taurus, which, wants things to just be practical and stable and down to earth. And please, Leo moon, just stop talking so much. Stop being so needy. That's how they're going to see it. They're going to be like, why all the drama? It's just find a solution. We don't need to talk about this. Just keep things nice and calm and stable. I don't like all this drama. Like, shut up, basically. That's what that's doing. Then you've got Pluto and Sun in Aquarius, opposing the moon and squaring Jupiter. So you've got all these fixed, stubborn signs going off against each other. The one that's going to win out here is Pluto and the Sun, because the Pluto just gives power and magnetism and force, and even like a covert or sexy magnetic thing about it, where whatever the Aquarius nature says is probably going to dominate. And Aquarius, in a conflict, Aquarius would be quite stubborn, could give you silent treatment, could be quite cold, could be very like hyper analytical. They don't want to hear any emotional drama, and they might just say, well, it's not all about you, Leo. Yeah, ouch, right? If you're trying to feel seen and heard, and then you get coldly told, well, you're grandstanding, it's not all about you. Ouch. And it would be, because it's Sun and Pluto together, it would be done in a way that feels quite oppressive to the moon. However, sometimes, Jupiter is squaring off with this Sun Pluto. So sometimes fixed signs can get off on a little bit of conflict. It'll make them even more stubborn. It'll make them more willful, or more, oh yeah, I'll show you. So for the average, squares tend to weaken the energy, make it confusing, and weaken the effect. But here it looks like all of this standoff, Jupiter and the Taurus planets could aggravate Aquarius, but they could also stand with it against Leo. So unfortunately, the feeling I'm getting about this full moon is that if you are in any kind of conflict, or you feel dominated, or you feel like you're being swallowed up and you're not being seen for who you are, you're going to have a hard time overcoming that. You might need to wait for a different timing or occasion to correct the problem. Otherwise, you might feel like you're sort of struggling in vain a bit. Now, we also have Venus, Mercury, and Mars in Capricorn. So we still have this stronghold of Capricorn energy there. And Venus is in the 7th house, and it's just going to encourage, well, let's just all get along here as well. You know, let's just calm the waters and find a practical long-term solution. Again, to the Leo moon, that might feel a little bit sort of cold or dominant. Mercury and Mars there as well. This is talking about thinking long-term, and it's the 8th house, so it might involve talking about finances or the costs of things. It could end up talking about keeping things under wraps, like we don't want that to come out. You know, that would affect our status. We don't want any 8th house secrets or taboos coming out. There's a lot of oppressive energy here as far as like just Leo moon is, I just gotta be me. I'll tell the truth. I'll sing it from the hilltops. And the other planets are going, no, we won't, dude. No. Except Neptune, which is like, yeah, cool. I totally understand. I needed to hear that. Oh, so will you have my back? Oh, no, 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 no. That's too hard for me. They're too oppressive for me. Because Venus is squaring Neptune. That's like a recipe for disaster. Neptune could be two-faced. It could be so afraid of conflict that it could be one way with you and one way with them. So we got to be careful of that as well. So unfortunately, that Leo moon doesn't have many allies. If you're on the other side of it, there might be somebody in your life who seems to be that dramatic, needy Leo moon person, in your opinion. You might stand with the rest of these planets. Jupiter is very happy. Jupiter and Uranus and Taurus are very happy if Venus, Mercury, and Mars are in Capricorn, all earthy. Let's stick together. Let's just keep the waters cool here. You know, there's no need for big emotions. Don't have to bring that up. You don't need so much attention. So you might be standing with those people, and it would be worth your while if you're on the quote unquote winning side or the dominant side, for somebody to reach out and think about it from the point of view of the person who's trying to just get their point across or be heard with that Leo moon. But it's an interesting gateway into the energy, because Leo is all about the individualism and, you know, one person shining on a stage, you know, the star, the king or the queen, the rock star, the public speaker, the one who's telling all the jokes and getting the laughs with an audience. And Aquarius and Pluto in Aquarius is really about the collective. Like, stop needing so much attention. This isn't just about you. This is about how it works for everybody. We're all part of a greater system. And so they'll see the Leo as being, you know, childish or needy for wanting to do those things, which it isn't, but that's just the way the tides are turning for right now, for quite a while. So this Sun Pluto, we're really going to feel this entry into this, you know, how much tolerance do we have for people expressing their individuality right now, or how much pressure is there on us to be, you know, putting some of our personal needs aside for the greater good. And that theme right there could be really a big part of the next 20 years. What do we have to sacrifice? What do we have to put aside of our personal needs and expression, which we have not been doing in our society? We've encouraged more and more and more individualism. And now all of a sudden, Pluto and Aquarius comes along, and it's like, if we don't work as a group, we're not going to make it. If we don't band together, we're not going to survive some of these things. We're going to be in a position where we have to band together. So it's going to be a bit of a humbling time for the ego, for everybody. But it isn't a bad thing if we start to come together and think about what's good for everybody instead of what's good for our little backyard. But as you know, that's going to be a tough lesson, especially when we've had 16 years of Capricorn energy of like, climb the ladder, get to the top. I want to be the one at the top. How can I get to the top? It's going to be giving up some of those, maybe some of the wealth, some of the, you know, who has too much? Where does it need to be rebalanced? Big time it needs to be rebalanced. But people that are at the top don't want to relinquish. But Pluto and Sun in Aquarius is going to make us start thinking about that. Now, we also have Saturn here sitting pretty close to the top of the horizon in the chart, even though the MC is technically the top of the chart. But literally, this is how it's sitting in the sky if you're in the Eastern time zone. So Saturn's sort of the top. And it's in Pisces, and it's also encouraging us all to think of the collective, but on a deeper level, on a more emotional, spiritual level, even than Aquarius. You know, it's more about recognizing like everybody's here together. Man, beast, plant, we're all one. We're all affected by each other, and we are all one, and therefore we all have needs and we all have suffering, and nobody wins the suffering competition. Everybody has it in their own context, and Saturn is going to bring us situations where once again we have to see that we are all one. And Saturn is making an exact, you see this here? We don't talk about this aspect much. 5 degrees Pisces, 5 degrees Leo. And you see the green dots. That is called a quincunx. That is 150-degree angle. And that is like a grinding, like aggravating kind of energy. Saturn aggravating the moon. Again, the moon is like, I need to paint, you know, I need to sing, I need to get up and do my thing. Like I have to get in touch with myself, and I need this to come out, and I need to be seen to be happy. That's Leo moon. And the Saturn in Pisces is going, again, it's counteracting it. It's like, well, okay, you need to be seen, but so does everyone else. You know, like keeping it in check. Like, are you doing that purely for yourself and you can share the spotlight with others, or are you doing it because you've got to be better than others? Because you're not. Saturn and Pisces will say that. So it's an interesting time, interesting chart. There's definitely a feeling of like struggling to be seen and heard, and you know, groups banding together against someone. And because of all of the Neptunian aspects and squaring off with Venus and all that, it's like this could be, some of it could be covert dynamics that you encounter, or a feeling of just an oppressive feeling, and you can't quite pinpoint why. Maybe it's hard to address because no one's saying anything directly, but it's implied or it's in the air. And again, my feeling is it's probably best to express this in terms of, you know, exercise or art or writing or music or something where you can get it out of your system, because it's not quite the time for a fight. So let's take a look at our tarot cards now for this reading.